Hey, 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 welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I'm so glad you're here today because I've got another heartwarming story for you, one that's going to remind you just how powerful passion, determination, and a little bit of luck can be. So if you're ready for a feel-good story, let's dive right in. This one is about a guy named Tim, and he's not your average hero. In fact, before this story unfolded, Tim would have probably been the last person you'd imagine would be making headlines. But sometimes, life has a funny way of surprising you. One day, though, everything changed. It wasn't anything drastic or dramatic, it was just an ordinary Thursday afternoon. Tim was scrolling through social media, trying to catch up on the latest updates, when he came across a post that caught his eye. It was a local animal shelter that had just rescued a small family of dogs that had been living on the streets. They were in desperate need of foster homes. Tim paused. He stared at the photo. A mother dog and her 3 puppies, all scruffy, malnourished, and wide-eyed, looking like they hadn't known love in a long time. Tim had always been an animal lover, but this hit him differently. Something inside him shifted. He knew, without a doubt, that he couldn't just sit on the sidelines anymore. So that evening, he made a decision. He picked up the phone and called the shelter. "I'm interested in fostering," he said. "I've got a good home, and I think I can help." The shelter was thrilled. They asked if he could take in one of the puppies, just until they could find a more permanent home for it. Tim agreed, without really thinking too much about it. After all, he'd never fostered before. But he figured, how hard could it be? The very next day, the shelter brought over the little puppy who was named Max. Max was tiny with big brown eyes and an energy that could only be described as chaotic. He was shy at first, but once he realized he was safe, he became a whirlwind of curiosity, exploring every nook and cranny of Tim's home. Tim quickly realized that Max was going to need a lot of attention and care. He spent his evenings playing with Max, training him, and just bonding. But as the days went by, something unexpected happened. Tim's routine started to change. Instead of spending his evenings on his usual hobbies, watching TV or reading, he was now out walking Max, meeting other dog owners, and talking about animals more than he ever had before. The joy he felt seeing Max grow stronger, more confident and happier, was something he hadn't experienced in a long time. And then it got even better. After about a month, the shelter contacted Tim with some news. The family that was supposed to adopt Max had backed out. Max needed a permanent home, and the shelter wanted to know if Tim would consider adopting him. Now here's the twist. Tim had never really planned on adopting a dog. But when he looked into Max's big, pleading eyes, he realized he couldn't bear the thought of sending him away. They had built a bond, a real connection. Tim said yes, and from that moment on, Max became a part of his life, his family. But the story doesn't end there. Tim's experience with Max ignited something inside him. He realized that, for all his love of animals, he had been hiding behind a desk for far too long. He'd always wanted to do something meaningful with animals, and now he saw the difference he could make, even with something as simple as fostering. So Tim started volunteering at the shelter. He began taking on more dogs, and even worked on organizing adoption events. He shared his experiences on social media, telling his story to others, and soon, he had a following of people who were inspired by what he was doing. Tim went from being a quiet accountant to a passionate advocate for animal welfare. And the best part? He wasn't just helping animals, he was also helping people. His story reached so many others who had similar interests but were unsure of how to take that first step. Thanks to Tim, a lot of people started fostering dogs, and many found their forever homes. So, the next time you feel like life is just a series of small, monotonous days, remember that change can come from the most unexpected places. Tim didn't set out to become a hero. He just saw an opportunity to do something kind, and that one simple decision changed his life in ways he never could have imagined. Sometimes it just takes one small step, one decision to start a ripple effect. And who knows, you might just find your true calling in the process. All right, my friends, I hope that story put a little spark in your day. If you're thinking about fostering, volunteering, or even just making a change, take Tim's story as your sign. You never know where it might lead. Thanks for listening. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share the love. Until next time, keep following your passions. You never know where they might take you.